I'd like to take a minute here to go over a few examples. I'm going to convert these problems using dimensional analysis. And to help me, I'm not going to memorize these quite yet. By the end of the unit and in the beginning of the dosage calculations, you should know some of these conversions. But right now I'm going to use the conversions to memorize worksheet that you are provided with in class. So first of all, how many fluid ounces are in a 500 milliliter test tube? In order to answer this, I need to know hopefully a direct conversion between milliliters and fluid ounces. If you look at the conversions to memorize, we see that we do know. We know that there are 30 milliliters in 1 fluid ounce. Now, we know immediately we're talking about volume because we're talking about milliliters. So to convert this, I'm going to start with what I know. I know there are 500 milliliters. So I'm going to write that over 1. And I want to cancel out milliliters. So that's going to be in the conversion factor in the denominator. And since I have a direct conversion into fluid ounce, that's great. I can write that. And given to me on that conversions to memorize, I know that 1 fluid ounce is 30 milliliters. Now, if you look that up on the internet, it's going to be approximate. It's not going to be exactly 30. But we're going to use 30 as our conversion factor. If you were to multiply 500 times 1, the milliliters would cancel. And then we divide by 30. Basically, we're going to have 500 divided by 30. Let's round this to the tenths place. We're going to have approximately 16.7, and the answer is in fluid ounces, so FLOZ. It's not a bad idea to write FL just to indicate that we're talking about volume here. Again, this was a direct conversion between fluid ounces and milliliters, and I was able to use dimensional analysis. In the next example, I'm told that a can weighs 483 grams. What is its weight in pounds? If you look on the conversions to memorize, we only know this information. We know that there are 2.2 pounds in 1 kilogram. So in order to get pounds, which is what I want, I would need kilograms. We can think to ourselves, can I go from grams to kilograms? Well, yes, that's just the metric system. So 483 grams is what we'll start with over 1. I need to eventually, when I'm done with my dimensional analysis, have pounds. Right, that's what I want. Since I don't have a direct conversion between grams to pounds, I could go from grams to kilograms, and then I can go from kilograms to pounds. So that's the plan. Let's first cancel out grams and go to kilograms. I know there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. And then from there, I'm going to use this pound, actually, this is perfect, as my conversion factor. If I multiply by that first factor, grams will cancel. Maybe I'll indicate that with a different color there. I know grams will cancel. Now I want to convert kilograms into pounds, and I know there are 2.2 pounds in 1 kilogram. So up top, if you were to multiply the numerators, you would have 483 times 2.2. That's approximately, it's 1,062.6. And in the denominator, you'll have 1 times 1,000 times 1, that's just 1,000. So if you were to divide those, you would get, and since we're dividing by 1,000, we can just move the decimal point, or you can put it in your calculator. And let's just write this out what we have. We have 1.0, and then 626, and the answer is pounds. Really quick, to just recap what we did, we needed to get from grams to pounds. We didn't have a direct conversion, but I did know that I could first convert to kilograms. The next couple examples, I'm going to set up the dimensional analysis and see if you want to pause and try these, you're welcome to. This next one here, 5 ounce to grams, even before we start calculating, you should think to yourself, are we talking about volume or mass and weight? I mean, if you're thinking about ounce and then you go to the conversions to memorize, you could see, well, I know ounces to teaspoons, I know ounces to milliliters, but I don't see anything ounces to grams. If that's what you're thinking, you're looking at the conversions to memorize, you're going to be confused. We don't want teaspoons, we don't want tablespoons, we don't want milliliters. The reason I know that is because I want to eventually convert to grams. I am talking about not fluid ounces, but I'm talking about ounces in terms of weight and mass. So I'm going to first start with my 5 ounces, and I'm going to have to leave space here because it might take a couple different steps. And I'm going to write that down below. I eventually want to get from ounces all the way over to grams. However, if you look at the weight down at the bottom of the conversions to memorize, I know ounces, I could get out of ounces and go into pounds, so that might be an intermediate step. I can then go from pounds to kilograms, and from there go from kilograms to grams. So we're going to have multiple steps in this problem. There's no direct, on our conversions to memorize, no direct link from ounces to grams. So just thinking about that, it may not hurt to kind of map it out first. We want to cancel out ounces, and we're first going to go into pounds. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. I know that the ounces will cancel. Next, I'm going to go from pounds to kilograms. So pounds is in the denominator, kilograms is in the numerator. I know there are 2.2 pounds in 1 kilogram, and pounds would cancel. And then finally, I can go from kilograms to grams. There are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So kilograms would cancel, and I would have grams. When I multiply all those, if I multiply all those numerators, I'm going to write this down here. If I multiply all the numerators, I'll have 5 times 1,000, so it'll be 5,000. And in the denominator, just as we've been doing, we'll have 16 times 2.2. So we'll have 5,000 divided by, in the denominator, 16 times 2.2. I'm going to round this to the, let's say, the hundredths place here. You'll get 142.05. 142.05, and the answer is grams. I went through that quick. If you need to go back and replay that, please do. Just realize we don't have a direct link from ounces to grams, so we can use our intermediate conversions to eventually get there. Moving on to the next one, I'm going to create a little barrier here. This is not going to take as much because if we look at our conversions to memorize, when we want to go from milliliters, immediately I know I'm talking about volume, milliliters to teaspoons, I can look to see the number of milliliters in a teaspoon. There is a direct conversion. I'm told that 1 teaspoon is equal to 5 milliliters, so that's the conversion I can use. I want to start with my 50 milliliters over 1, and I want to cancel milliliters and go right into teaspoons. I can do that because, once again, there's a direct conversion. 1 teaspoon, according to my conversions to memorize, is 5 milliliters. If you multiply 50 times 1, then divide by 5, you're going to get 10. There are 10 teaspoons. That was a quick one. And then finally, if I create one more barrier here, we need to go from 8 fluid ounces, I'm talking about volume, to tablespoons. Once again, if you look on your conversions to memorize, our tablespoons to fluid ounces, do we have a direct connection? I see, in this case, that 1 ounce is equal to 2t. So I'm going to write that down. I'm told that 1 ounce, in this case it's fluid ounces, is equivalent to 1 tablespoon. How do I know it's fluid ounces? There's no FL in front. I'm talking about volume. And when we're using tablespoons, we're not going to talk about tablespoons in terms of weight. Tablespoons are a measure of volume. So even though on the conversions to memorize it says 1 OZ, I know this is fluid ounces. And that's a wrong conversion. I apologize. That should say 2. 1 ounce is equivalent to 2. Let me re-erase that there. 2 tablespoons. And it should be a capital T. I'm on a roll. Okay. So let's start with our 8 fluid ounces. I apologize for that. And we want to cancel out the fluid ounces. I know the fluid ounces. I'm just going to write OZ. And I want to get into tablespoons. There are 2 tablespoons in 1 fluid ounce. If you multiply the fluid ounces, I guess I'll cancel out the FL as well, you will get 8 fluid ounces, and you're going to be multiplying by 2. This is going to be 16 tablespoons. What I want you to, if you were to replay this video what I want you to keep in mind here is the conversions to memorize eventually we'll need to memorize, obviously. What I want to do now, and what I'm hoping after this class you're able to do, is to use that sheet to help you practice dimensional analysis to go between the units, so that once we practice, a lot of those conversions will be second nature.